Today, we gather with heavy hearts to solemnly honor the brave souls who made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom and dignity of the Amhara people in the districts of Shua, Rasa, and Timuga. We pray that their souls find eternal peace. This is a critical statement from the Amhara Fano Unity Council, or AFHAD, dated December 21, 2025. Ethiopian calendar. What it reveals is deeply disturbing. It reports that the regime has killed its own soldiers, 19 of them along with many civilians, in a horrific drone strike. Many others were left seriously injured. Let's step back for a moment. Since July 2023, the Amhara people have been forced into armed self-defense. They describe the actions of the Prosperity Party-led government as a genocidal war. Over this period, a staggering number of war crimes have been committed against the Amhara population, growing more extensive and systematic with each passing month. While it is no secret that the current government is involved in armed conflict in various parts of Ethiopia, the situation in the Amhara region is starkly different. The nature, pattern, intensity, and scope of the war crimes committed here are unique. Yet this grim reality has been largely hidden from the world's view. To understand the disparity, let's compare the Amhara region with Oromia. In Amhara, if someone is merely suspected of being affiliated with Fano, their property can be seized or destroyed without any legal process. Government soldiers are reported to routinely enter private homes, confiscating cash, mobile phones, gold, and other valuables for their own personal gain. Anything they can't carry is often destroyed on the spot or taken to military camps. This isn't random looting. It has become a systematic practice. As a direct result of these actions, a vast number of civilians, including children and the elderly, have seen their homes and entire livelihoods utterly destroyed. In stark contrast, even in areas of Western Oromia where armed conflict is intense, we haven't seen comparable reports of widespread, systematic destruction of civilian property targeting those accused of supporting insurgents. This glaring difference isn't just evidence of ethnically motivated targeting. It's an alarming indicator of a potential genocide. This state-driven, genocidal intent against the Amhara people is most brutally demonstrated through the use of drone strikes. Over the past 3 years, with very few exceptions, nearly all drone attacks in Ethiopia have been concentrated in the Amhara region. These are not isolated incidents but part of organized military campaigns. The number of these strikes is now approaching 200. When you look at the frequency of drone bombardments globally, the Amhara region ranks at the very top, not just within Ethiopia, but across the entire world. Consequently, when it comes to civilian deaths and injuries from drone strikes, the Amhara region is tragically far ahead in first place. This ethnically driven violence reached a new low on December 18, 2025. At around 10 o'clock p.m., the government launched a drone strike in Shua province, in the Yifit and Timuga district, Rasa zone, specifically in Koraberet Kebel, in a village called Inbuebad. The target was not a military one. It was a deliberate attack on civilians. At the time of this horrific attack, there was no active military engagement in the area. There was no military camp, and there were no defensive positions. The government knew this. All evidence strongly suggests that after failing to find a legitimate military target through drone surveillance, the operators simply fired indiscriminately upon a gathering of people. And here is the most shocking proof of this indiscriminate attack. Among the 30 people killed, 19 were government commandos. These soldiers had been captured alive and were being held in the custody of Fano forces. As brutal as the regime is known to be, it is hard to believe it would intentionally target its own captured soldiers. These men were awaiting transfer to the International Committee of the Red Cross, a process that had been publicly requested multiple times. These prisoners had hope of being reunited with their families soon. As is often the case in these attacks, the government didn't just strike once. It fired twice. In addition to the captive soldiers and their 6 Fano guards, 5 civilians who were nearby were also killed. 4 of them were local farmers. The 5th was a young man named Fano Tesfaye Mekasha. He was eagerly anticipating the unification of AFHAD and the Amhara Fano force in Bersheliko, and his loss has deepened our collective grief immeasurably. In total, 16 other civilians were seriously injured, with 3 sustaining minor injuries. As if this massacre wasn't enough, the government has continued and even expanded its military campaign. In the same Rasa area, heavy weapons, mortars, and DSHK machine guns have been fired across villages. This has resulted in the deaths of 5 more civilians in Hidi Kebel and 3 in Gilbert Kebel. The atrocities don't end there. There are reports of abductions. 10 civilians, mostly youths and farmers, were taken from Abay Atir Kebel. Another 10 civilians were abducted from Gilbert Kebel, and 5 more from Tedika Kebel. They were forcibly taken from their homes or workplaces by government forces, and to this day, their whereabouts remain unknown. Their families are left in a state of agonizing uncertainty. Furthermore, there has been systematic looting. Crops, including teff and millet, cultivated through the immense labor of around 15 farmers in Abay Atir town, Medina Kebel, Tedika Kebel, and Gilbert Kebel, were stolen in broad daylight. These vital food supplies were loaded onto vehicles under government control and driven away. This is not just theft, it's an attack on the very survival of the people. In conclusion, we pray that the Creator grants eternal rest in paradise to all those who have lost their lives. Under this racist regime, we pray for strength and comfort for their grieving families. This is a time of immense sorrow, but also a time for resolve. We call upon our people to stand with us in the actions that must follow. During this Christmas season, we urgently appeal for your support for our wounded brothers and sisters. They need our help now more than ever. We want to make one thing clear. Regardless of the sacrifices required, the struggle will continue. It will continue with renewed strength, with renewed determination. We will not be broken. Honor and glory to the martyrs. Victory to AFHAD and all Amhara Fano forces. Victory to the Amhara people, and victory to the people of Ethiopia. Thank you for listening. Please share this information far and wide. The world needs to know what is happening.